Hello, everybody. Thanks again for watching the Unleash podcast. I am your host, Crystal Bean, co-host Kimmy. Today, the show is going to talk about balance. It's so important to balance. So the topic today is just staying balanced, achieving work-life balance, family balance, self-care, professional balance, business balance. A couple of topics that we're going to talk about today is setting clear boundaries, prioritizing tasks, practicing mindfulness, and just delegating and outsourcing. You have to know when to delegate stuff. You don't have to do everything. I think that's a part of balancing is that you don't have to be a one-man show. They have so many resources out there for you to get the service, the help you need. They have virtual assistants. And I actually use virtual assistants to do a couple things that I can't do so that I can prioritize different things that's a little bit more important in my life. For example, I'm a wife. I have 4 kids. I'm a business partner. I do real estate investments. There's so many things that I'm doing. We're doing the podcast and blogging and this and that. You can't be everywhere. But at the end of the day, successful people say that there's 24 hours in a day. So what you choose to do with those 24 hours is very important. If I have to get 2 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep, I'm going to do what I got to do. But at the end of the day, you have to also make sure that you maintain your health and your mental state. And that's also important because that's going to bring up some other things that we've talked about in the show as far as anxiety and stuff like that. Before I kind of chime Kimmy in, I want to talk to you guys about a story. And a lot of times as women, we focus on balance. People say, oh, how do you balance it? How do you balance it? It's almost like a double standard. We don't expect men to balance their schedule, yet we have that double standard that women have to be perfect, women have to be Renaissance women, and that women have to balance everything. And that's not that's not realistic, right? I randomly was at a dentist appointment and I was just talking, being myself. Crystal, we talking to everybody. I act like I know everybody. And we was just talking. And I told the lady, hey, you're doing a great job for my kids. I really appreciate you. Your personality is so great because my child is able to sit there and he's just the 2-year-old that I have. He's able to sit there and he's able to sit there like a grown man and do what he needs to do. Usually little small kids are like all over the place, right? And she said, oh my, and then she just broke down. I'm thinking to myself, what in the world would she break down about me saying, thank you. I needed you today. You're the perfect person, the perfect assistant to serve at what you're doing because I need you today. She broke down. And the reason why the breakdown was because she's new to the area. She just got a new job. She's got a child. She's trying to balance everything. And then I told her, it's not realistic to be perfect. You're not designed to be perfect. Stop having this make-up situation in your head that everything is going to be perfect. Everything is always going to align. You do the best that you can with the situation that you're dealt in life. That's it. If it doesn't get done today, then do it tomorrow. If you can multitask, great. And if you can't, that's okay too. That doesn't define you. You can still press forward and do small tasks add up to big tasks. We have to stop pressuring ourselves. We have to start patting ourselves on the back and saying, you know what? Job well done today. I did the best that I could do. You know what I mean? And let's talk about how you balance or if you do balance it. And sometimes it's like, I couldn't do it today. I'm going to have to push that to next week. I'll call Kim or Kim be like, okay, Crystal, are we on today? Nope, we're not on today. I'm not feeling it today. And then I had to, when I tell y'all, I had to maneuver in Kim's schedule. When I tell you this woman is on the grind, like no other, and I know she's about to drop some gems and share some stories with it, but I'm telling you, you're not always going to be 100%, and that's okay. Last week I said, babe, I cooked, I can't do dinner today because I have to focus on something else. You got to be able to navigate. You got to be able to outsource. You got to be able to small tasks that you just simply can't do. That's it. You may have to order pizza today. You might have to miss that practice. It's okay. You're not designed to be perfect. It is okay.
Yeah.
Let's help you with some tips that you can get a little bit organized, like maybe getting a calendar, putting things on the calendar, and maneuver some things. Every day you're not going to be able to get done. Maybe you got to wake up a little bit earlier. So Kim, let's talk about that. Okay. How do you balance? And if you don't balance it, if you make it, that's cool too.
I know you touched on so many things and triggered so many stories that I want to tell. So I'm going to tell a couple right up front. First of all, there is no perfect way to
Absolutely not. Nope.
Balance is just what it is. You need a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And I
Right.
like to think of a really good recipe. Think about like your favorite dish that you're cooking.
Mm.
It needs so many different things, different elements. And when you get really, really good at cooking and you get really, really good at that recipe, it comes off the head. And then you're like, maybe I add a little extra dash of salt here. I add a
Absolutely.
little pepper here. I like the spiciness a little bit more. So this time I'm gonna chop some jalapenos up in it. Even though the recipe didn't call for it, you
Yes.
decided to move and maneuver and modify
Pivot.
according to
Pivot.
your taste buds. So
Yes.
when I first started learning about balance, when I had my daughter. Before I had my daughter, it was all career. Okay. It was all career. I was
That'll
at
do it for you.
I'm only gonna be after my career.
Yes.
Everybody could take a back seat. I had this guy who was trying to date me. He's like, we don't spend any time together. I was like, well, I'm working. I
Right.
got my career to do,
Right.
So
If anybody knows Kimmy, she gonna win.
yeah,
Okay. She's
and
gonna win.
he was asking me, well, what can I do? Where can I take you? And I was
Hmm.
thinking to myself, like, man, I don't even know where this man can take me because I don't want to go nowhere but to work. I'm on a mission. I'm climbing the ladder. So I
Exactly.
had no balance at the time. And when I had my daughter, I brought her home and, everybody wants to come and visit and look
Yes.
at her and see. And
Yes.
my auntie said, baby, you got to let this dollhouse go. I said, what? What you mean? Dollhouse? She said, you got to let this dollhouse go. She says, it's so clean in here. We can
Hmm.
eat off the floor. She
Yeah.
says, but you need to sleep when your daughter sleeps. You need
Yes.
to work while you're awake and she's awake and you're figuring
Yes.
out what to do. She says, because I was trying to get her to sleep so I could get all my other stuff done. And I was
Right.
burning the candle from both ends,
Burn the
literally
midnight oil.
and
Yep.
experiencing burnout. And so I was like, man, there has to be
But let's
another.
hold on a second. How did you feel though? Because most people talk about that, right, in that moment, but they don't talk about the feeling of that burnout, right?
Oh,
So let's
I
get deep
felt.
because these listeners need to understand that when you're going that wrong direction because you're doing that midnight
Mhm.
burnout or burning the midnight oil, there's a lot of things psychologically is happening to you, and
Yeah,
you're not alone because Kim
yeah.
and I have both been through this.
Yeah. So first of all, I felt physically drained, and I wasn't
Yes,
doing a whole
me
lot of
too.
extra physical activity, but
Yes.
the mental portion was taking such a toll on me that it
Mm-hmm.
was entering my body. It was
Yes.
easy for me to get sick, to catch a
Yes.
cold. It
Yep.
was easy for things not to settle in my
Yes.
stomach. I had a feeling of nausea. I just felt like, and
Yeah.
then I
Yeah.
experienced what we call severe brain fog, like I'd be in the
Yeah.
middle of doing something and couldn't
Yeah.
figure out what the end was going to be.
Or
And
be
I'm gonna
stuck.
be
Did you ever
honest,
feel stuck? Like stuck?
yeah, not only
Yes,
stuck,
me
it was
too. Me
so
too.
emotional. Like sometimes I would be like, I'm just gonna cry. Like I know
Yeah.
this is easy, it should be easier for me, and I just need
Hmm.
to sit on the floor. The baby's crying, I'm crying, you know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
not knowing what to do. Um, but the thing that I realized in learning to balance is that it started happening in small steps.
It's
The
all
first
steps.
step
All
was
steps.
I was
Mhm.
like, you know what? No matter what, tomorrow after 7 p.m., it's
Yep.
just me and the baby. I'm not doing
Yeah.
anything else, not looking at anything else, not reading anything else. And
Yep.
then when she started to sleep a little bit more and I
Hmm.
wake up from my nap and she was still asleep, there are a lot of things that I started figuring out I could do one
Hmm.
at a time. Then when I
Yeah.
went back to work, I'm at the work every day, and on maybe Monday I decide that before I pick the baby up, I'm going to get the groceries.
Right.
Or,
Exactly.
I may
Multitask. Yes.
leave
Yes.
work a few minutes early when I'm
Uh-huh.
usually the first one in, the last one to leave. Today I'm going
Okay.
to leave a little early because
Yes.
I want to pick the
Yes.
groceries up. I want to get them in, and then when we get home, it's just us. And it's exactly like you said. My auntie said you're gonna have to let the dollhouse go. Well, I did. I had to. My dollhouse looked like something else now. It had a play
But guess
area.
what? But hold on a second. Hold on a second. I actually, and this is horrible when a friend says something. I said, I came over to Kim's house one day. I said, Kim, not that she's dirty, so let's clear that up. I said,
Mhm.
Kim, the dishes, do you got too many dishes in the sink, Kim? because I got OCD. Kim's like, Crystal, I'm grinding, I'm making myself. So I'm sitting here talking and having tea time with her, and I'm cleaning her kitchen. I'm cleaning her kitchen and helping out because I don't want to see it. So I'm cleaning out. And she said, it's going to have to be what it is, Crystal. I have let that part go. And so at that point in my journey, I wasn't there yet. I felt like before I go to sleep, the house has to be clean. Everything has to be in order. But I was driving myself crazy. Listen to me. I was driving myself crazy. And that was bringing a whole lot of other anxiety that I didn't even know I was having. Because my mind was racing at all the things I had to do the next day, all the things I needed to do, all the things I didn't get done. And then there's a pitfall in my stomach. It starts to have digestive issues because I'm thinking. I'm not sleeping. I keep racing.
You can't rest. I
cannot rest because I'm taking the kids to school. I'm going to work. At work, I'm not eating my lunch because I'm paying bills on my lunch break or whatever I was doing, And then I was in school. I think 10 years ago, I was trying to get this degree, but trying to get more certifications for work so I can go up the ladder. There's always a grind, I wasn't waking up early. The problem was I was not waking. I was trying to fit all this stuff in my schedule and not working with my schedule or not operating my schedule. Say, if I had woke up maybe 4:30, 5 o'clock, I could probably have been able to do all this stuff. But I was trying to squeeze in all these things that I was trying to do in the normal time of, I would say, operations, right? Because again, like you said, you got to pick the kids up, you got to cook, you got to clean, you got to take them to all these practices. And then let's say you, at the same time, you're trying to build this business. So then it's like, well, why isn't things working? Why isn't this doing that? It's because I'm not making the things that I truly want a priority. And so I'm here to tell you that you're going to have to wake up. You're going to have to sacrifice that time, early in the morning or
early in the morning.
Maybe sleep at night. You're going to have to stay up a little bit longer to achieve some of those tasks. Or you may have to say, okay, guys, I'm on my lunch break. I can't always play and talk crap and laugh and giggle or go to lunch. You're going to have to sacrifice that 30-minute to an hour lunch break and get some things done. You're going to have to start navigating and being more strategic in life in order to get some things done. So that's one of the tasks that you can do. That's a mindful task that you can start mind shifting yourself to small tasks, start doing. Or it may be that you need to get physical activity. Maybe in your lunch break, you go outside and walk. But you're going to have to get organized. I think organization.
I want to tap into that just a little bit on the organization side of it. So you hit two very important things. One thing was once I got on a schedule, I had to create what I called a skeleton schedule for myself. The skeleton schedule was in pencil, which means I could switch things around. It was just the bare bones and minimum of what I needed. And I realized that, hey, if I start at 5 a.m. instead of 7 a.m., then I got 2 extra hours of calm time, of getting myself back to it. Last week, we talked about meditating, 20 minutes of meditation. I had a little bit of time for me to ground and to do things. And then I started scheduling stuff in. Even like you said, Crystal, 2 things. One, before I could afford to have someone come in here and help me with the housework or hire someone for that, I was like, okay, it was scheduled in. It was like, okay, every Wednesday and Sunday, the house is going to be getting clean.
Oh, here they.
Come on a Thursday, baby. You're going to do like Crystal and see them dishes in the sink. And I'm just going to be like, well, you know what? You didn't come on cleaning day. You see my schedule up there. You should come on this day. And you wouldn't have.
Give me that smirk. I remember that.
Yeah. So creating a small bare bones schedule that can shift around and schedule in time for yourself. Schedule in time for your kids. Schedule in even the time to just sit there and either read a book or watch TV, so that you also start noticing once you put
Audible too,
where you're wasting time too. Start being able to see some of that.
Listen, and I'm gonna tell you something. That's a conversation we just had. So Kimmy gave me some good advice about scheduling, right? Because this is a conversation, of course, you always talk to mentors, friends about how are you balancing it, right? And one of the things in techniques that Kim was able to give me was basically manage my schedule by putting my information in Excel spreadsheet, right? Or journaling what you're doing hour by hour. And
so you old-fashioned like me? Get it
Yes,
over
and I
with.
learned how much time I was wasting watching Netflix. I learned how much time I was wasting, like doodling my toes and nails. Right, I was
Yeah, you did
realizing.
the time study.
Yes,
You
time study. That's what I did. And I realized I wasn't being efficient with my time. I think time efficiency is very important. The big
Mhm.
tasks that I can handle, do. The small tasks that I can just give to someone else, I need to do. And that was a lesson learned. Even though I was like, oh, is this really going to work? Sometimes the things that you have the most resistance to is the things you probably need to do the most
Yeah.
because you learn something about yourself. So that was a really learning curve for me because I was resistant to do it. I was like, I can manage my time. I couldn't manage my time. I
Mhm.
had to be more efficient. I started waking up like 5 o'clock to work out, to meditate, to do other things, to do business things, to recall emails that I needed to follow up with my life coaching business, just all this other things that I needed to do. And because I was able to look at how much time I was wasting, how much time and resources I was putting in to Netflix and just whatever it is, just not straight up nonsense. You
Right.
realize how much time you really have to grow, to move forward in life. And so I want everybody to start practicing that. And maybe we can maybe I get the link from Kim and shoot it out and give it to you guys. And the reason why I think that's important is because you need to know where you put your time, and where you put your time is important. And the people you put your time into is also important, because if you
Yes.
have people that are not good for you, then it's time for you to change your circle. If you have people that are draining you and wasting your time, it's time for you to upgrade your circle, because your
It,
circle is
yes.
real estate. Your circle
It
is
will
real
throw you
estate.
off balance. That's
Yes,
what
it
we're
will.
talking about today. It will throw
Yes,
you off balance when your
yes,
circle is unaligned with where you are headed in your
yes,
atmosphere. You think
yes.
about going through a storm, going through a hurricane. I'll
Hmm.
start with that storm.
Right.
Wind is coming from everywhere, water is going everywhere, streets are flooding. So
Yes,
the normal directions you would need to take to shorten your route are going to be flooded and
yes,
inundated with, we always go back to the word negativity. I use that word because if that is the energy that you're giving off through your
yes,
conversation, through your body language, I don't have time for you, because
yes.
you're going to throw me and everything that I am working on off balance.
There's something about them vibrations, aren't they? The
Yes.
vibrations are
Yes,
very important.
yes. So you have to be aware and alert, not only of your surroundings, not only of your schedule and what you're doing, but for those
Yes.
people who you allow inside as
Hmm.
well. For those people who you allow to call you on the phone and say, hey, you know what? I got a problem. For me, I'm gonna listen to you the first time you got a problem. Now it's our problem. But I'm
Yeah.
solution oriented. So what can we do about it? If you call
Yes.
me 2 weeks later and we've talked every other day in those 2 weeks, and at the end of the 2 weeks you still got the same problem with no solution, then I can't help you, because at that
Yeah.
point I have to understand you don't want to help yourself and
But
you're
here's the
throwing
thing.
off my balance.
But here's the thing, you also have to respect people's boundaries too, and
Oh
know
yeah.
when is the right time to be able to vent. Because there's some times that I call Kim and say, I can't vent to you because you got too much stuff going on in your life right now, so you can't take my energy. And she understands that, and I
Mhm.
understand that. Or I'll call my friend, but today can I call you to vent? And it may be one of those days where she can't take on anything else. Or
Yeah.
someone calls me and I say, hey, no disrespect to you, but I can't take on any more energy from someone else today
Right
because
now.
I'm trying to go this direction. It's going to throw me off. And
Yeah.
your real friends are going to understand that. But also, you have to be careful. Go ahead. Go ahead.
That I was just saying, that is so amazing that you bring that up, because we do that to each other all the time. And
Yeah.
since we are practicing, now it spoils over into my other relationships, where I will even ask the question,
Mm,
hey, do you have time for this? This ain't the happiest story that I got
right.
to tell you. Do you have the capacity to understand that, or just to
Right.
listen right now? And
Yeah,
some
absolutely.
people will be like, yeah, I can listen. I'm like, you don't even have to respond. And sometimes that's all we need. So
Right.
being comfortable enough
Mm,
to bring that out and to say
yes.
that, and to have a friendship that
Hmm.
allows enough balance for you guys to do that, that is important. Everybody
Hmm.
needs that. That's as equally as important as having you an accountability partner. There's
Absolutely.
somebody who
Absolutely.
can help you balance, but it's like it's a give and take thing. All the information ain't bad that you're giving each other. All the news is not bad.
Hmm. Right,
Sometimes
right, 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 right. It's just
stories.
some
Sometimes
time.
you're sharing, amazing stories. So
Hmm.
it's just one of those things that we have to get
Yeah.
more comfortable with. But some things that we mentioned today that I just want to make sure that people don't let go of.
Hold
We
on a
mentioned
second.
we mentioned the time study, so I want to be
Yeah.
sure to explain a little bit about that what that is. So
Okay.
the time study
Hold on a
is
second. Hold on a second.
okay.
I don't want to forget this. Can I say something real quick before
Yes,
you
go
do that?
ahead.
Because I'll let you end the show with that because that's good. You end the
Okay.
show with that. You end the show to that.
Oh,
I want to bring something up that Kimmy said, and this was about life is a balance. Life is awesome. Life is nothing but gratitude, right? But here's the thing: important piece that Kimmy just said is that it's okay to share it, and it's also okay to not overshare. But here's the key that I want to say is that people are in your life because you allow them to be there. Whether it's friends, family ones, loved ones, whatever the situation is, if these people are in your life, they are serving a certain void, a certain purpose in your life. So people that are not good for you, it's okay to not have them in your life, whatever the attachment is. Whether you know what I mean, whether it's your loved ones, friends, cousins, whatever, you allow these people to be in your life. This is your life. It's okay to, have a cordial relationship if someone's not good for you because you have to watch your energy. You have to
mhm.
watch your vibrations. And so when you talk to people and if they're too negative for you, it's okay to let them go
Yeah.
because
And
you're going a different direction. So just
you
be mindful there. Sorry, Kim. I don't want to throw you off because I really want you to share that information. Go ahead.
you mentioned establishing boundaries. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to add that into what you were saying. I was hoping that I throw the word boundaries in there, you'll run with it just a
Oh no, I didn't. I didn't. I didn't. I
but
didn't. I missed the
but
girl.
yeah, but that's amazing. And for the ones who are there
Mm-hmm.
in some type of capacity or something that you feel like you just cannot um, get away from them, then there's a healthy boundary that needs to be established on what
Yes.
can and cannot happen, what is and is not acceptable.
Exactly.
Because
Exactly.
when you're on a mission,
Mm.
everybody will not understand that mission,
No, and they
family
don't
and
have to. They don't have
friends
to.
included, and they don't have to. But
Yep.
what you have to be able and be confident enough is to establish boundaries that are going to allow you to continue to be successful.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. You gotta give them that tip. You gotta give them
oh,
that tip
real
before we
quick,
go.
the time
Yeah.
study is where you take a 2-week period of
Yes.
how you live your life now. You don't
Yes.
change anything. You do your standard routine and what you do every day for 2 weeks, and you write it
Mm-hmm.
down. How long you have a little schedule, a little spreadsheet that has all the hours on the day is broken down by 30 minutes,
Yeah.
and you say, okay, from 8 to 8:15, I spent driving to work.
Yes.
From 7 to 7:30, I spent getting myself ready. I spent
Okay.
putting my makeup on. And from 8:15 to 9 or whatever, I worked. I did this. But you're actually writing down everything that you do. And it becomes really important when you get home in the evening.
Mm-hmm.
Once you walk in the door at 5 o'clock, 5:30, 4 o'clock, whatever your time of the day is to get home, what are
Okay.
you doing with that time
Yes.
outside of your 9 to 5, outside of
Yes.
your business doing? How long are you watching Netflix? How long are you scrolling through social media? How
Yes.
long are you just reading mounds and mounds and mounds of business ideas,
What are
but
you
you're not
doing?
working on your business idea?
Oh, putting the pieces together. Yeah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
How long did you spend cooking dinner? How many
Yep.
days of the week? How long did you spend playing with the kids? And you start to maneuver this around and figure out like, dang, last week I binge watched something on
Yeah, on
Netflix,
Netflix.
and,
Insecure or I don't
yeah,
know,
and
Bridgerton or something. Yeah. Yeah.
it took me 2 hours every 3 days or something like that for two
Mhm.
weeks. And then
Yeah.
you like,
You
I could
like,
have wrote
oh Lord.
a whole marketing
Uh-huh.
plan
Uh-huh.
in 8 hours, or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
however long. So you start to figure out where you have extra time, where you
Mm-hmm.
can take that time back to yourself and pour it
Yes.
into your business or pour it into wherever you need it. Some
Yeah.
of us need to center ourselves and come back before we can even focus on the business. So
Yes.
we need to find that extra 30 minutes every day. But I guarantee you, if you do the time study, then, and I'll look for something that we can maybe put in a link or something
I
on
promise
the
I'll call.
website so that people who want to can actually download it and do a time study and share with us your results. Share with us, in 2 weeks,
Yes.
this is what I did. But one thing, you have to be committed to
Yeah.
it. And then you have to not be tempted to change in those 2 weeks.
So that
Because
was
the
hard for
2 weeks,
me.
yeah,
I'm gonna tell you the truth. That was hard for me because
you start seeing.
I started seeing it and I didn't feel good about it. So that was hard. But you kept telling me, do not change it, do not change it, do not change it. So I didn't. But that was hard for me, especially me being type A personality, wanting to be an overachiever, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I was like, crap, I'm really dropping the ball on myself. I see my
Yeah.
pitfalls where I said, oh, I don't have time for this. There was a lot of time. You have to create the time that you want.
Yep. Yep.
But again, I want to also shout out Viz TV. Thank you again, Viz TV, for being a sponsor. Check us out on Roku. We really appreciate that. And some other types. We're running out of time today, guys. So I'm also going to get the link from Kimmy, and I'm going to put it on the link below so that you guys get the resources that you need, and also check out our blog. So again, thank you again, always for being the best co-host there is, right? Thank you for watching the Unleashed podcast with your host, Crystal Bean and Kimmy Marshall. Thank you,
All
guys.
right. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.